إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. قال الله عز وجل بعد أن أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Dear brothers and sisters, respected elders, you all know that for more than 1 month now, our brothers and sisters in Kashmir, in Indian occupied Kashmir, have been experiencing an increased level of oppression. There's been curfews, there's been blackouts, no communications, attempted no communication with the outside world, internet, telephones and so forth. As many of you, I've been speaking to some of our brothers and sisters in India and Pakistan, in surrounding areas, who are trying to get into contact with their families, for example. There are many reports coming out almost daily of horrendous accounts of torture, rape even of our sisters and mothers. And many people have been asking for us to address this. Many people are upset, understandably so. And it's a sign of Iman to show some kind of anger or some kind of frustration at this situation. We see something similar happening all over the world. Many places our brothers and sisters are being oppressed, tortured. And someone might begin to entertain negative thoughts with regards to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or criticizing the people who are being oppressed themselves. There's one very important fact that we have to remember, whether we're talking about Kashmir or anywhere else. And that is, this earth was never meant as Jannah. This earth was not created to be a paradise. This earth was created for us for a very specific purpose. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ. He created death and life. Why? So you can enjoy your life, so you can have fun, so you can acquire lots of wealth. That's not the reason why this universe that we can observe was created. خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. This is why Allah created this world and put us here, in order to test you, which of you are best in deed. This life was created not as a paradise. Paradise is later, inshallah. This life is created as the test to see which one of you will go to paradise and which one of you will go to the hellfire. And even amongst paradise, which one of you will go to the highest level? Which one of you will go to the other levels? We have to bear this in mind. It seems very simple, but when we're looking at oppression on our TV screens, when we're reading the newspaper and saying this many people imprisoned in Kashmir, or this happened or that happened, it's easy for us to forget this and become quite negative or pessimistic in our attitude. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Things like this, tests, trials, tribulations, are supposed to happen in this dunya. They are supposed to happen. Now that doesn't mean we sit back and say, it's supposed to happen. The opposite. Because it is supposed to happen, we have to realize, what am I supposed to do now? What is my reaction supposed to be? How do I pass this test instead of fail it? You all me, myself, all of us, we are in a test right now. We are in an exam. So we should be thinking not, how can I make more and more money? How can I progress in my career, full stop? We should be thinking, what is my role in the bigger picture here? What can I do to pass this test? Now often this question, what can I do? It comes in two opposite ways. This is the problem with, for example, the written medium. When you see it written, you can read it two ways. What can I do? Number one, you can think, what can I do? Can't do anything. I'm just one person. What can I do? Leave it. And the second type of person who reads it will say, what can I do? He's sincere. He wants to learn, what can I do to pass this test? What can I do to help alleviate the suffering of my brothers and sisters in Kashmir? For example, Shaitan will come to you with the first reading. What can I do? You're just one person. One person can't do anything. Just leave it. Just ignore it. Just go to work, go to school, enjoy your life. You can't do anything. This is what Shaitan will tell you. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what He wants us to focus on is, what can I do? Sincerely learning, what can I do to pass this test? Practically speaking. Shaitan, for every shubha, every doubt, every specious argument Shaitan comes with, there is an answer. Shaitan will say, you're just one person, you can't fix everything. Shaitan will say, Allah will destroy them. Allah will destroy the wrongdoing people. Just you focus on yourself, focus on your own area, your own community. Something similar happened in the time of Banu Israel. We all know the story. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded them with a test. Don't catch fish on Saturday. You remember this. They split up into two camps. Some people broke the rule. They caught fish. They tried to get around it, and they disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And some people did not. Some people obeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But those that obeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala were two types. One of them was rewarded, one of them was also punished. How can you be punished if you obeyed Allah? Because what they were saying. They were telling their brothers, leave it. You're worshipping Allah, you're obeying Allah. Don't tell those people that they're wrong. Don't speak out. Don't try and stop them. Let them do. Allah will punish them. Allah will destroy them. Leave it to Allah. But their brothers who not only obeyed Allah but spoke out against the injustice they saw, spoke out against the wrongdoing, they said, we will continue to obey Allah and we will speak out and try and change the bad into good. This is what you're supposed to do. What did they say? They said, their brother said to them, leave them, Allah will punish them. Why are you warning them? Why are you telling them? Why are you speaking out? And their answer was something we have to memorize. They said, مَعْذِرَةً إِلَىٰ رَبِّكُمْ وَلَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَّقُونَ. Why are we speaking out? Not so that we can fix everything, no. So we have an excuse before your Lord. This is why we are acting, because we know this is a test. And when Allah asks me, what did you do? At least I can say I did this. At least I can say that I spoke out against that. And this group was saved. So there were in fact three groups. The first group disobeyed Allah. The second group obeyed Allah but remained silent. They didn't speak out against anyone. And both of these groups were punished. And the third group, they obeyed Allah and they spoke out against the injustice. They spoke out against the wrongdoing. This is the type of group that we want to inculcate. The Prophet ﷺ, he made it clear to us, "Man ra'a minkum munkaran falyughayyirhu biyadihi." Whoever amongst you sees an evil, something bad, then he should change it with his hand. What if you can't change it with your hand? Just ignore it, sit at home? The Prophet ﷺ said, فَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِلِسَانِهِ. If he can't change it with his hand, meaning maybe it's impossible or it will lead to a bigger problem, then let him change it with his tongue. فَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِالْقَلْبِ وَذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْإِيمَانِ. And if he can't change it with his tongue, and none of us are in this position that somebody is forcing you to remain silent. But even for argument's sake, imagine someone was forcing you to remain silent at pain of torture or death. Then you still have to try and change it with your heart. And that's the lowest of Iman. Those are the only three options. There's no option number 4. Ignore it and sit at home. So when we see the scenes on our TV screens, when we see the stories in our newspapers about Kashmir, about the suffering of our brothers and sisters, none of us should ever say, I'm just one person, what can I do? No, we should say, what can I do? We should ask ourselves sincerely, if I can't change it with my hand, can I change it with my tongue? Can I speak out against this? Can I write something to my local MP? Can I spread awareness about this? Can I write a letter to the Foreign and Commonwealth Office to issue a statement? I can do all of these things. Can I pay with my wealth to help alleviate some of the problems that are happening? And even if you can't, imagine if you've exhausted everything, you still have internally, you have to try and change it with my heart. What does that mean? How do you change something with your heart? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will see if enough of us sincerely want to change a munkar and we're unable to, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give a way for it to happen. So no Muslim should ever say, what can I do, and give up. No Muslim should ever say, I'm just one person, and give up. This trick and trap of shaitan. What are the other traps of shaitan? You find you can do something, but you're just one person, you won't make a big impact. Right? Another trap of shaitan. Or shaitan might give more and more excuses. You've got other things to work on, you've got to look after your kids, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. In the next khutbah, inshallah, I want to go over a few practical things that we all can do. That we all can do in order to try and pass this test that we're in. Because we realize it's a test. We realize we're in the examination room now. And it's our job now collectively to think, how do we pass this test? أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. I'm going to recommend a few things we can do and a few things we should avoid. Some do's and don'ts. So the don'ts first. The number one thing that we should avoid doing. Number one thing, if this is the only thing you take away, remember this. Do not fail the test by being a bystander. Do not fail the test by being a bystander. It's natural. It's automatic for some of us. If something were to happen, la qadar Allah, someone were to fall down or get ill or something, vast majority of people will do nothing. If someone is being mugged in the street, many people just walk by. It's an automatic reaction. We think somebody else is going to do it. This leads to extreme cases. Extreme examples of audience inhibition, the bystander effect. Something bad happening and everyone else thinking, oh, somebody else will help. This is the number one thing we have to keep in our minds, that any time something bad happens, automatically my mind, my brain, my nafs, my ego will tell me to, shaitan will tell me to ignore it, ignore it, ignore it. This is the one thing we have to try and suppress inside us. What else do we not do? We do not turn this into some kind of blanket anti-India issue or anti-Hindu issue. The oppression that is being carried out on our brothers and sisters is not by India full stop. It's by one extreme right-wing element within the political milieu there that happens to be in power now. Some people are calling for boycotts of India or Indian goods, not thinking that majority of the businesses that you might be harming are anti this party anyway. So we have to be intelligent, we have to be clever about how we go about doing things, and don't turn this into a Muslim versus Hindu or Muslim versus India issue. There are 100 million plus Muslims in India. Turning it into a Muslim versus India issue is nonsensical. This is a Muslim land historically, and there are many millions and millions of Muslims there as well. And this is in fact what those people that are trying to push one community against the other, this is what they're trying to do. To try and draw a wedge and polarize communities that were historically together. Neighboring villages, neighboring streets that lived in coexistence and relative harmony. They're trying to polarize people and turn them into two extremes, each one fighting each other. This is the oldest trick in the book. Divide and conquer, divide and rule. This is one thing we have to not do. This is not an issue of Islam versus India or Muslims versus Hindus. No, this is an issue of oppression of a people. They happen to be our brothers and sisters, so we have an extra affinity towards that. But we do not react by saying something negative about all Hindus or all Indians. Now what do we do? What do we do? The number one weapon in our hands. First, middle, during anything else, and at the end. The number one weapon we have is dua. Don't think that this is just what you do when you lose, when you have nothing else left. No. You have many plans. You put many plans in place, many strategies, but dua is the one thing that goes through all of them. Look at all of the battles of the Prophet ﷺ. Look at the hijrah of the Prophet ﷺ. Such a precarious time for the future of Islam. There was meticulous planning. But before, for example, the night of the Battle of Badr, the Prophet ﷺ was raising his hands profusely, making dua so much that his garments would fall off his shoulders. And Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, radiallahu anhu, he would put it back on his clothes and console the Prophet ﷺ and tell him how Allah will not let us lose. So dua, making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. None of you here, if you sincerely see something and you sincerely want it fixed, Allah will not reject the dua of any of you. It might sound shocking, but none of you will make dua to Allah for something and it will be rejected. If you are sincere. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ said, no believer makes dua to Allah except he gets one of three things. Number one, Allah will give you the thing precisely that you asked for. If He doesn't give you that, He'll give you something else which is better for you. Maybe you ask for example, lots of money. But Allah knows that if He gave you lots of money, it would corrupt you because that's how you are. So He gives you something better than that. Or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will avert some kind of calamity that was coming your way. Or if He really wants good for that particular slave, if you really have a spark of sincerity inside you that Allah is pleased with you, may Allah make us among them, then Allah will withhold that dua for a later date when you most need it. So the answer of these categories is what? The answer is make as much dua as possible, because it won't be wasted. And seek out the recommended times to make more and more dua that Allah loves. On Friday between the adhan and iqamah, for example, when it's raining, when you're traveling, when you are oppressed. When you are oppressed, or your brothers and sisters are oppressed. So dua is not something we do at the end, it's at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end, during everything. Our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another thing we can do, dear brothers and sisters, is use our voice. Anytime you see some important news coming from this area, or anything you want to help spread, the power of the media today is in all of our hands. The problem with when we present history as this person did X, this person liberated Al-Quds, Salahuddin liberated Al-Quds. Salahuddin didn't do all the work. Salahuddin was the icon. The people that did the work were the people on the ground. Hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands. Those are the people that do the work. Those are the people that get big change happen. Make big change happen. So don't think I'm sitting around waiting for Salahuddin. I'm waiting for some kind of charismatic leader or icon. No, we are the people that do the actual work. Individually, if you go to Wembley Stadium, if 100,000 people, if one person claps 100,000 times, he will do nothing. But if 100,000 people clap at once, you could cause the building to shake. And as an individual, yes, you might not have that much power or influence. But as a collective, if we're unified on a cause, if we're pushing the same messaging, that can have an astronomical effect. And all this is in the hands of everyone. For example, one practical thing you can do, if you see some important news about this place, interact with it on your social media. All of us, pretty much all of us are on social media of one kind or another. This is how the social media algorithms make the difference between something that has one view and something that has 100 million views. Because of your interaction. If you see something and you press on your phone, you press on your computer, you scroll down it, you press like, you write a comment, you share it, the algorithm recognizes that this is something people want to engage with, and it makes it go viral. This is how it works now. The power is in your hands, it's democratized. We can all write letters, write emails to our MPs, asking them to raise this in Parliament. We can all donate with our wealth to not only raise awareness, not only build Muslim or accurate, ethical journalists and news organizations that tell the truth, that spread the truth, but also relieve some of the ill effects of this oppression. So many charities are working with people that are trying to escape, people are trying to make ends meet. People, you might know yourself, people who have people in that area back home. Let your wealth do the talking as well. So, to summarize, dear brothers and sisters, respected elders, this life is a test. The suffering we're seeing in Kashmir, this is a test for us, not just a test for them. Allah is testing them in their way. Allah is testing us in our way to see, what are we going to do? Are we going to change the channel? Are we going to put our money where our mouths are? Are we going to donate to this cause? Are we going to raise awareness about this cause? Are we going to write a letter to our MP about this cause? Are we going to write a letter to the Foreign and Commonwealth Office raising objections about this? You have a voice. All of us have a voice just by the fact that we're here in this country. You are being tested, I am being tested. How am I using that voice? We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to alleviate the suffering of our brothers and sisters in Kashmir. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help them overcome their oppression. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us our shortcomings. And finally, dear brothers and sisters, I want to remind us of one thing. Moral support is extremely powerful. One of the most heartbreaking things that we hear from Kashmir and other places like it is that our brothers and sisters may feel, where are the Muslims? Where are our brothers and sisters? Just sending a message of support to someone you know who's there or connected to there. Getting your kids to make cards, or anyone in your madrasa, showing moral support is very important. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive our shortcomings. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.